Lewis, oh my gosh, he just appears to have it, right? And it's not as though that's new, but he's so subtle. He's so charmingly funny. Like, okay, the guy just got one right. He got lucky. He threw his shorts in the crowd. He said his balls were hot. Like, it's not overly complicated. It clearly wasn't planned. It was really organic. Like, there's a lot of reasons that worked. But at the same time, how are you going to duplicate that, right? It wasn't planned, which means he doesn't have to. How do you get lucky? How are you going to get so funny twice? And not very many people do. It's true. Get your one-hit moments. But, dude, that was years and years ago. And Derrick's doing more and more and more things. And now he gets one over the weekend in Kansas City. He moons the crowd, which to me is funny. That's a personal, that may be a cultural as to how you grew up, where some people find that offensive. That, to me, is funny. I would love to know why. Like Derrick Lewis could have mooned one person as a negative, but it was only meant for one person. Even though he showed his ass to a worldwide audience, he meant it for one person, which would be interesting and funny. Like, I wish he would have elaborated. Maybe he just wanted to show his butt, or maybe he was going to expand and the balls were hot and now the butts. I don't know. He didn't finish the statement. But can we admit something happened there? Something happened, which was interesting. The cup ended up going to the crowd, and the shorts went this way. And all right, let me take you guys back to, and this was against Payzone. Now Payzone's my guy, but it's also one of the reasons that I remember this and was watching. That was the flying knee. Payzone's coming across, Derrick's coming across, right? It was this Askren Masvidal type moment, and it went Derrick's way. That was in Salt Lake. And you must understand the politics on this, okay? Derrick was down the card. He was main card. No, he was not. He was not main card. He was going to be the main event of the undercard. Wow, that just, it makes my point the same, but it just strengthened it. Salt Lake City, put that in perspective for you guys, okay? That was Justin Gaethje versus Dustin Poirier for the BMF title. Derrick Lewis was on the undercard. Main event of undercard or not, he was on the undercard. Taking on Payzone. Michelle shows up, overweight, Wonder Boy refuses to fight. So at the last minute, meaning the day before, they reshuffle the deck, which gets Derrick not only pulled onto the main card, he had a pretty good placement. He had a pretty good play. I want to say he was third from the top. Was co-main that night? Was that Piera versus Blachowicz? And the main event was the BMF. Am I remembering that right, guys? Even if I'm not, Derrick didn't just open the main card. He had a meaningful spot. And then after the fight, he grabs the microphone, which ends in a knockout by heavyweight and a flying knee. Like, it's a really good moment in Derrick's career. But he grabs the microphone and then he reveals the rest of the story. He didn't realize he was revealing it. And everybody that heard it didn't really realize what they just heard. But it was Derrick's last fight on his contract. And they were letting him fight it out. Which means when the referee stopped the fight, and at this point during the interview, just moments before, when the referee stopped the fight, Derrick Lewis, flying knee Payzone, at that exact second in time, Derrick is no longer in the UFC. So all of a sudden you start to understand why it was more important to main card and feature others. You start to understand. But Derrick does comment in the microphone, unlike other fighters who have been in that same spot. He does not turn the gun on the UFC. He does not begin a public negotiation. He does reveal that his contract is up, and he sure hopes they re-sign him. But just in case they don't, right? I'm not changing the words, but this is his message. Just in case they don't, and this is my last moment, please, guys. It's been real, but it goes both ways. Thank you all. And he walked out. And I share that because that was an amount of time ago, at least somewhat. Even if it was last year, it was an amount of time ago. It's the BMF title, and it's already been defended to the point that it's changed hands, and the guy that lost that night and got woken up has rejuvenated his career. I'm talking about Poirier, is going to be fighting for world championships. Like, I mean, it seems like, and here's Derrick Lewis, who that night was scheduled to be on the undercard. He was supposed to be on the undercard. And he's now, as recently 2 days ago, knocking people out in main event at sold out arenas. It's incredible. And Derrick complains about he don't want to be main event. He doesn't want to be scheduled. He doesn't have to do the 5 rounds, have the pressure on him, have the media, let somebody else have it. And it's one of these spots where you can't. To the main event either goes the most important fight of the evening, which, you're right, the title, the way we do our industry, the title is going to trump, it's going to be the most important fight of the evening, or it goes to the most popular guy, right? These are broad strokes. There's some details you can put in there, but that's Derrick, whether he likes it or not. The people love him. The people are into him. He has something to say. It's interesting. It's funny. It's charming. What could get others in hot water, we laugh when Derrick does it, right? There's something playful about him. And it really is quite incredible. I mean, what a difference a day makes. What a difference saying yes to an opportunity with a good attitude and making the most of it. What a difference that can bring. And it's a really remarkable situation where Derrick Lewis, who looked to be on his way out. I mean, you guys, there was like this weird skid that came in. I seem to remember Tuivasa, for example. But that was the night where it kind of looked like, Derrick wasn't Derrick. We'd already seen Derrick and Surreal. Like, we're kind of getting the answer. And all of a sudden, he comes back. He comes storming back. Main event status, sold out arena, the one that we're all talking about after the fact. And he wonders why he's the main event.